Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So in this one, I really wanted to pose a question. Do you think that the Jets are done adding free agents to this football team? It's interesting, right? Because really, since the start of voluntary OTAs, we've heard a lot of things that would point into the direction of rolling with the guys currently on the roster. Nothing wrong with that. But on the other hand, we've seen some things, right? We've actually seen some things transpire that would suggest otherwise. So we're going to get into both sides, of course, but let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Are the Jets done? Do you see the Jets actually going out, signing another free agent, whether it be a big name free agent or maybe even a cheaper option? Let's dive in. So over the last couple of weeks, we've actually received a lot of mixed signals from Robert Saleh, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you never want to be predictable in the NFL, especially if you are an NFL head coach. I mean, the last thing you want is to be tipping your hand to every other team out there in the entire league where, you know, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Saints, they look at the Jets as, you know, just a laughing stock, like, oh yeah, we can predict their every move. That's the last thing you want, obviously. It just sucks for the fans because we're kind of caught in the crossfire. We're left in the dark as well. But early on in the process, I felt like Robert Saleh and the coaching staff really were kind of leaning more to the direction of letting the young guys battle it out, having a lot of competition amongst the rookies, amongst just the younger players, guys learning the system, the younger guys taking the majority, the bulk of the reps, which is awesome, right? That's totally cool. I really like the logic behind that. But then in Robert Saleh's most recent press conference, after the Morgan Moses news, of course, where just a week prior, the Jets brought in 30-year-old Moses for a visit. So there is an undeniable level of interest there, right, by the team in a 30-year-old free agent. And then Robert Saleh says in the press conference, hey, like, we're not trying to avoid adding talent to this football team, right? We're going to essentially try to explore every avenue possible to get better. Interesting stuff. On one hand, we're adding a ton of veteran players. Vinny Curry, LaMarcus Joyner, most recently Ronald Blair. Who else? Tevin Coleman, right? We're adding guys that have seen a lot of NFL football. But then on the other hand, we have, I feel like, a ton of positions that are kind of being left out in the cold, positions that I feel like might need an extra body here, might need some talent there, like corner. I mean, the entire room is young players. Bryce Hall, Bless Austin, newcomer Michael Carter and Pinnock, right? Corey Ballantyne. It's a young group. Backup quarterback. What's happening there? Is James Morgan going to be the backup quarterback for this team? Outside linebacker is another position that I feel like maybe the team can get some value in the free agency market. I mean, really, when you take a look at the free agency market right now, the guys that are still out there, there's a lot of talent, a lot of guys that can still come in to this Jets locker room and produce. They would fit the system and the team can afford them. I mean, right off the top of my head, Quan Alexander, KJ Wright, Nick Mullins, Brian Poole, Steven Nelson, Richard Sherman. That's 6 players. 6 players right off the bat. But if we read between the lines, is this code for the New York Jets saying, we actually feel really good about the outside linebacker position. We feel really good about James Morgan and the corners. Yeah, the corners might be young, but we still feel really good about them, and that's awesome. If that's the case, great. I don't want to turn a cold shoulder to really talented players because of financial reasons. Now, at the same time, I'm not saying we need to spend every penny under the sun, right? Every single cent that the Jets own, we need to go spend it on free agents this offseason. Of course not. Of course not. But I do feel like with a couple of these guys, it would really benefit the team. I mean, especially like in Nick Mullins' case, like, I just feel, and I feel like I could speak for a lot of Jets Nation when I say that the backup quarterback position is a huge question mark. If Zach Wilson goes down week 2, right, week 3, if he just so happens to get mono like Sam Darnold, what's the plan? Is the season a wash? Is James Morgan this, diamond in the rough? Like, what's actually happening here? Maybe we'll get some of those answers through, preseason, kind of see how he looks and stuff like that. Or, hey, maybe it's Mike White. Maybe he wins the backup job. And Steven Nelson's another guy, an above average corner for sure. One of the best man coverage corners in the entire league. So it's weird, right? It's a weird situation. Now, look, if the Jets are done adding free agents, that's totally cool. I'm all for rolling with the guys on the roster. But if the team wants to go out and sign a Morgan Moses, sign a Steven Nelson, bring back a Brian Poole, that would be okay too. And that's really the benefit from being a 2-14 football team. There's really no wrong answer here because are you really going to be worse than 2-14? Are you really going to take a step backwards after adding all of this talent, adding all of these new coaches into the scene? I highly doubt it. Unless you have like Hugh Jackson scenario on your hands where it's like 0-16, 1-15, but that's so rare these days. So yeah, I feel like with some positions on the football team, safety, defensive end, it's like all hands on deck. We need as much help as possible. I mean, really just that other defensive end spot, because Carl Lawson's going to be one of them. On the opposite end, think about how many candidates we have. Jabari Zuniga, John Franklin Myers, Vinny Curry, Bryce Huff, Ronald Blair, the newcomer. That's 5 guys. That's 5 defensive ends. But the bottom line is this. This is my opinion, my take. And by the way, I cannot wait to see what you guys have to say down below in the comment section, like where you think the Jets will go with this whole free agency debate here. But if the New York Jets don't add another player to this roster, right, we enter the 2021 season with this team, I'm cool with it. I think the Jets have made a lot of progress in the offseason, coaching staff aside, Corey Davis, right, all of the draft picks, Carl Lawson, LaMarcus Joyner, we've added a lot of really good players, CJ Mosley coming back as well. I think that the Jets will either triple or quadruple their win total from last season. That is a huge step, in this case a leap in the right direction, okay? That is great. If the Jets aren't done adding free agents, let's just say they go out and they add Morgan Moses, right, tomorrow at noon, we get word Moses is inking a deal with the New York Jets. I would love that as well, because we're adding talent, we're bolstering the team, and we're getting better as an overall unit. And also, it could benefit the team, not obviously it's going to benefit them in the short term, but depending on the contract length, it could benefit them in the long run as well. Steven Nelson's another guy. If we sign Steven Nelson to a 1-year contract, the dude balls out, he's a great fit in the solid defense. We find a way to use him. He mirrors his production in Pittsburgh. We now have an opportunity to re-sign, to extend Steven Nelson for years to come. And then, boom, all of a sudden, we have our number 1 corner. We have our number 1 cornerback in the building. So there's a ton of different angles that you can kind of look at the situation from. But I feel like at the end of the day, no matter what decision, no matter what path the Jets decide to travel down as it pertains to adding free agents to this football team, there's really no wrong answer. Again, and you can make arguments for both sides, but I feel like either way, the Jets are way better than they were last season, and there's just so many more things to look forward to. There's so many more things that you can kind of bet on moving forward. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I can't wait to see what you guys have to say, because I've talked to a couple fans and they've said like, no, like we need to add more free agents, like it's a necessity. And then I've talked to others that have kind of said the opposite, like, no, we don't need to spend more money. We've added enough players. We have tons of rookies, tons of draft picks. It is what it is. We're good entering the season as a young rebuilding team. So anyway, thanks so much for watching, and as always, go Jets.